All right, hey, what's going on, everyone? Sam here with Lake Pro Tackle. Guys, this video, we're going to be comparing the brand new Berkley Slobberknocker to the old tried and true Z-Man Evergreen Jackhammer. You know, the Slobberknocker for me has been a really cool lure that I've gotten to try out over the last couple months. Released at ICAST, and you know, there's a lot of hype behind it. A lot of the Berkley pros, of course, are pushing it, and I want to see what it was worth, kind of how it compared to the standard, the Jackhammer. Again, it's been out for quite a while. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been won on the Jackhammer. So I'm going to tell you some of my thoughts, some strengths, some weaknesses of the Berkley Slobberknocker in this video. Guys, let's go ahead and hop into the video. But before we do that, guys, I'm going to let y'all know Lake Pro Tackle's got some awesome stuff going on. We've got a bunch of cool rods, reels, tackles, some stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else, especially Armstrong Outfitters, chatterbaits, glide baits, flipping jigs, crankbaits, all that cool stuff, as well as slick baits and Zimmer baits. Our glide bait selection, we're gonna do an order here actually shortly. So let us know down in the comments which glide baits you want to see. You know, we're gonna restock some 6-inch for sure, as well as some of the 8-inch. So if you got some specific colors or something, let us know so we can order it, and we'll get it here in the shop for y'all. But guys, let's go ahead and start comparing these two lures here. So first off, if you aren't familiar, which I hope most of you are, but if you're not, we're gonna run down some things on the Evergreen Z-Man Jackhammer. It's been out for quite a while. I'm gonna run down the list as shown on the package here. So some of the strengths: starts running quickly, so as soon as it hits the water, that blade's gonna start turning, or I guess chattering. Let's see, next, creates natural hunting motion. So what that motion is the one big thing that I love about the Jackhammer is that it's great in open water because of the action it puts off. And it says that hunting motion is, what it is as that bait runs through, it's going to keel off to one side and then keel off another way every couple, turns of the reel handle. That's great for getting reaction bites, getting a lot of fish who chase to react to it. Next up, we've got avoid snags and deflects cover. Blade striking against the head produces a really unique sound. The high hookup ratio, the bait itself holds soft plastic trailers very secure, and then easy to skip under docks. Now, a lot of these are very true. I think the biggest thing for me, though, is running through snags and deflecting off cover. That's one thing I did find that the Jackhammer does not do as well as the Slobberknocker, and I'll kind of explain my reasoning behind it and why I think that the Slobberknocker is better in structure compared to the Jackhammer a little later in the video here. But we're going to focus on the positive on the Jackhammer. It is great around open water, as I said. It's got that hunting motion as well as grass. Fishing it around grass, what I've found that it is the best thing to fish it around, and one of the strengths of the Jackhammer is fishing it in thicker grass. Now the head design, I'm going to pop a picture up here on the side of the Jackhammer and kind of point out exactly why it's so good. So the blade sits above the head, and that's the first thing, but let's back up real quick. The patent behind the Z-Man Evergreen Jackhammer is the blade connected to the head. It's directly on there. There's no split ring in between. There's no swivel. There's nothing really that grass or other stuff can get caught up on. So it cuts through, the blade cuts through grass very, very easy and allows that hunting action to enact whatever action it needs to. So as the bait goes through the water, that blade is putting pulses off as it clicks left and right. The skirt is pulsing, and the hook is rotating as well. And that's what the trailer, the trailer is really there to give a more secondary action, a more lifelike approach. And as that bait turns as a whole like this, that trailer is getting an extra action as well. So I really like to pair the Jackhammer up with 3.8-inch Kitech, maybe even something like the Skinny Dipper by Reaction Innovation, as well as different craw baits, especially if I have different craw patterns. Now, the hook on this bait is a Gamakatsu heavy wire hook. It has a wired tied skirt on it, has real 3D eyes. I don't know if the eyes make a big difference. You've got so much chattering and vibration and flash on this bait. I don't know if the eyes make too much of a difference, but it's something they put on there as a plus. And then a low center of gravity on the head design, where that head really, I guess, scoops under the water for easy casting. I will say, skipping it, I don't know, it says on the package that it's easy to skip under docks. I guess it's as easy as any other jig on the market. And I'm going to get on, talk about the Slobberknocker here in a second on why I think as well, that it excels in the skipping aspect. Now, I will start comparing these here. First off, the Jackhammer is a little bit thinner profile than the Slobberknocker. The skirt is a little bit finer material, and one big thing about the Slobberknocker is it has the power bait mixed into the skirt. So skirt strands are a little bit longer. There are some little tinsel strands in there that are really, really skinny, but for the most part, the Jackhammer skirt is going to be a lot smaller, a lot finer, and it slims down a lot better. Now, the hook on the Jackhammer, like I said, is a Gamakatsu heavy wire hook, but it's still actually smaller and thinner diameter than the Berkley Slobberknocker hook. Now, the Berkley Slobberknocker hook, and we'll go ahead and talk about some of the list items on the Slobberknocker. The Slobberknocker hook is a Fusion 19 hook. It's very stout. You're not going to bend it out. I've had a couple jackhammers where I've gotten them in a tree and I pulled too hard and just kind of bent open the hook. It hasn't opened up all the way, but I will say the jackhammer hook does open up a little bit. The Slobberknocker hook, I haven't had any issue. Like, I've gotten it stuck in several things, tried to pull it out, and I felt like my line was going to break before that hook was going to bend out. And when I got it off that tree, that hook was still perfectly in line where it needed to be. So right here, we're going to go down the list on it. Hard knocking sound, amplified rolling action, and that's due to the head. Durable through head blade design, and that's, I'm going to put that up here, kind of what that connection looks like. Sizable blade for increased flash and water disturbance. That is a big one. The blade on the Slobberknocker is much bigger than the Jackhammer. The blade, I would say it's about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch bigger sideways in width and height. So it's going to be putting off a lot more of a thump in the water, and we're going to talk about the sound here in a minute, as well as the Talon style keeper that locks bait into the place. And I'll put a picture somewhere over here to let you see how that works. Now, the big differences between the keepers is the Jackhammer has basically 2 metal wires pointed at a V for your trailer to slide up and get locked on. The Slobberknocker has the basically keeper, kind of more like a flipping hook keeper, to where your bait slides on and it has that little talon at the top, and that's about it to keep your bait on there. They both have snaps to tie your line to, directly to the blade and directly to the head in a way. Now, they're both different in that sense, but we're going to talk about kind of the action that each one imparts due to those blades. So like I said earlier, the blade design on the Jackhammer is straight to the head with that little metal ring, kind of. It's not a split ring, but it's just a little metal ring, and that allows this bait to have that tracking action. It also allows that high frequency chirp or chatter underwater. So if you've listened to these underwater, and I definitely recommend you going to look at a video of these fishing or going underwater, it creates a more baitfish noise, something like a hydro wave. It sounds very similar to the hydro wave in that sense, and it sounds like a school of baitfish going around, and makes it easier for those bass to hone in on them. Another thing too is that with that slender profile, it's going to have a little more roll on it, so it's not standing straight up and down. That's why a lot of people will fish something like a Zacco on the back of this, because the Zaccos are a lot taller, keeps that bait going straight dead on in the water pretty good to an extent, as well as any other swim bait trailer. Now, when it comes to the Slobberknocker, a lot of things come into play when you're thinking about how it moves. I've thrown this bait a lot here in North Texas, as well as Squaw Creek Reservoir, a little lake up here that's got a lot of grass in it. So I have fished it through grass, fished it through a bunch of different things, just not as, I haven't fished it as much as the Jackhammer, of course, because I've been fishing it since high school, all the way through college, all over the country. But I will say the Slobberknocker, hands down, can come through cover a lot better, hard cover, and that's going to be rocks, going to be timber, and other stuff like that, whether it be fishing through docks as well. I would say the deflection on the head is a lot better because that blade is connected in line with the head, basically. That blade actually goes right below the tip of the head, and it allows it to roll over timber and roll over hard structure in a way that the Jackhammer just doesn't compete with. Now, the Jackhammer, again, cuts through grass very easily, but the Slobberknocker, I tried fishing it through grass and it just got balled up, and I think that's just because it's like a wall. The blade creates a wall where that head is, and it can't get through that grass very easy at all. Another thing too, fishing this through timber, I can throw it out there, sink it down, and just burn it through timber, and it's not gonna get caught up. I usually fish it with a power stinger, and that's what they really recommend and mirrored it to in terms of a trailer. So another thing, open water, it's not bad. I just would target more cover with the Slobberknocker just because of trying to get a reaction bite through different cover. The trees were very, very productive when I was at Squaw Creek, and also fishing it down a rock bank at Lake Louisville, shallow. So not really open water where you've got a lot of water below the bait, but just fishing it down a bank in shallower water around 4 or 5 foot. So looking at these directly together, the biggest things I want to point out to you are fishing the jackhammer through open water and grass is where it really shines for me, and fishing the Slobberknocker through shallower water and different hard structure is where it shines for me as well. And you might have different experiences with either one of these if you already have your hands on some Slobberknockers, or if you're on this video because you want to learn more about them, you'll definitely want to go with one or the other for different situations. Now, if I had to choose one, I'm gonna be honest, I really can't choose, but if I did have to go with one, I'm leaning a little bit towards the Slobberknocker just because I know I can match it up with the same trailers. Doesn't have to be a power stinger like Berkley would recommend or really push towards you, but the ability to fish it through trees a lot easier, and rock where I live specifically is why I would go with this one. Now, the jackhammer still has a special place in my heart, of course, because I've probably got 25, 30 of them when they first came out, and fishing around the country, I didn't want to lose one and be like, shoot, I've only got one. So I have a lot of extras of these, and I'm planning to get a lot more of these Slobberknockers. I already have 4 of them. This is actually my favorite color here. This is herring. It's got like a tan underbelly and a white and kind of gray gizzard shad looking top on it. So it's a great shad pattern. Another one too is I'm gonna try out the fire craw, which is the orange for the springtime here, especially on some of these power plant lakes we have here in North Texas. I'm gonna be trying a lot more of the sizes and stuff, and I will say I really only fish 1/2 ounce. I really don't like fishing 3/8 ounce bladed jigs because I like to be able to count these down, get a little bit deeper, and have a little more feel through the rod with them. So that's kind of my hot take on the Slobberknocker and the jackhammer. Again, no clear winner in my opinion on which one is better. They're both suited for different situations, and I want you to keep that in mind. So I hope you enjoyed this video here. If you learned something, maybe want to go pick up a Slobberknocker, head over to lakeprotackle.com. Check out our social media, subscribe here to the channel for more awesome content that we're doing weekly, as well as our current fishing reports online, and you can see them here on YouTube. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, we'll see you next time.